Alright, welcome back to another episode of my movie review series, episode 205. Now, last week I said that I was going to come back with another review on a movie um, culminating the final DLC of the Combat Pack in Mortal Kombat 11. Spawn is here. Spawn. 1995, Spawn, 1997. Yeah, starring John Leguizamo, Michael Jai White, Martin Sheen, Teresa Randall, Nico Williamson, D.B. Sweeney, Miko Hughes. Yeah, man, this movie Spawn. This was the comic book movie that was not Batman, was not Superman, but it's based off of a major character, and considering the fact that this character, this comic book, is still running today, one of the longest running, comic books, not only in the history of the company of Image Comics, but this is the longest ongoing from the initial run. Longest ongoing from the initial run. I mean, no startovers like what DC have done with particular Superman runs. So yeah, I tell you, man. These days, Spawn, it's in the issue 300 something now. So yeah, this particular comic book, from 1992 all the way down until now, a lot of things went on with this particular character. So back in '92, back when Spawn was being back when he was created, it was you know it was a very interesting time in comic books. Comics weren't they weren't hot at the time, but when a bunch of guys from Marvel, when they broke off from that company and went and did their own thing and created Image Comics, Todd McFarlane, he was he had to get a character for himself, and the character that he got was Spawn. So it's about this guy, this highly decorated Marine turned government assassin, killed by his own agency, you know, killed by actually he killed by his partner, but ordered by his own agency to do it. And he was sent to hell for 5 years. Comes back as a hell spawn, a demon to pretty much a demon soldier to lead the to lead the devil's armies to burn down the gates of heaven. It create this whole new hell on earth. Basically. But yeah, that was the plan for Malboja. Yeah, not quite the devil, but yeah, he is the creator of Spawn. In the story. Yeah, he held him in hell for a good 5 years, just to unleash him right after, just so he can he can have him consume, you know, and so just so he can have Simmons see everything around him, and it would could help consume his hatred and his uh his his hunger, his need for destruction. And one of the things that Simmons saw when he came back from the dead, one of the things that he saw was the fact that his best friend is now married to his wife. His best friend is married to his wife, and they have a child together. And knowing that Simmons, he could not give her a child of his own, and he was firing blanks. So, his best friend, put it to on a regular basis. So yeah, yeah, he sees that his best friend is now married to his wife, and he sees that a whole lot of shit in the world has really gone down, has really fallen apart, and everything like that. Yeah. He now have this form of conflict within himself too, because not only he had no, he came back with no memory, but he's now dressed in this outfit, this living suit, you know, yeah, this big shroud, this big cape, it pretty much is a weapon of its own. This suit, which pretty much protects him from any form of harm, But I tell you though, yeah, a lot of things that went on with this particular character of Spawn in the comics, you know, it was trying. I could see what they were trying to do when they tried to translate this particular character into the film. I could see what Alan B. McElroy was trying to do when he was trying to translate this character into this film. But the thing is, with uh, he wasn't the one that created the character. So you know, he just wrote the film, but he didn't have the not quite the understanding of the character. But he had certain bullet points that he was putting into the film. And then there was Mark Az Dippe that directed the movie. Yeah, yeah. He was much more known for being a graphic special effect, type of guy. According to a interview that Michael Jai White did, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. He did an interview where he talked about the movie, and you know, yeah, the director of the movie, yeah, he excelled more in um, graphic imagery, computer graphic imagery, which we saw a lot of in this movie. And yeah, let me tell you, this movie, yeah, it had much more highlight in visually. It had much more highlight visually than it did with the story itself. I mean, yeah, you tried to translate what was done with at least two, three, four issues, and they tried to compile it into one storyline for this film. Now, eh, you know, they done what they could. They have done what they could, you know. But yeah, like I said, visually, I mean, this movie is just wow. I mean, it looks great, Yeah, the graphics, the special effects, it looks great. I mean, it could, it's very, once you look at it now, 2020, is much more different now than 1997. Like 1997, it was amazing at the time, but it's very dated right now. It's very dated right now. It's certain parts, certain parts, certain certain animated parts, where all the other hell spawns, when they were down in hell, all the other hell spawns, making they were making their appearance, they're making their surrounding be known. And yeah, it was starting to look, those were some cheesy looking special effects, but still, certain animation was, it was pretty cheesy. It looks pretty dated. It looks pretty bad now, but at the time, it was just, they worked very well with what they had at the time. And yeah, they could have done much more better with the story, considering that it's a vengeance story, and it's not quite 100% faithful to the comics, not like the animated series was. Todd McFarlane Spawn, which was a show on HBO late night back in the day. I tell you, man, back in 1997, though, that was pretty much the year of Spawn. I mean, yeah, you had this movie, you had the animated TV show, you had these amazing action figure line that was coming out, McFarlane Toys, which is very well known action figure, a very very well known toy line today. McFarlane Toys, they do everything else besides Spawn nowadays. But yeah, yeah, they had that coming out, yeah, and then there was a Spawn video game, I think it was Spawn Armageddon. That was out in 97. Yeah, 1997 was the year of Spawn. And considering what Mortal Kombat has done with the DLC, looks like Spawn is hot again, Now there are talks about a whole new Spawn movie coming, a Spawn reboot movie is coming, and but hey, they've been talking about that for 10 years. But considering that they're really trying to get stuff together right now, you know, hopefully that will be successful. Hopefully that'll be successful. I mean, but yeah, I tell you though, this movie, man, this movie, yeah, the storyline, it was, it could have been done better. Uh, you, if only you had a director that knew what to do with a story. He did everything with special effects, but if only he knew what to do with the story itself, that could have been done a whole lot better than with the you know it's all about translation. That's what it is, man. That's what it is with this. It's all about translation. Did the movie translate better to the from the from the pages to the screen? Did the movie translate better from the pages to the screen? Not quite. It's like I give it the stock market level. It was up and then it went down and then it went back up just a little bit. I mean, you know, the fight, the fight scene between Spawn and Violator. You know, when they had Violator, they didn't give him they didn't give him the long jaw that he had in the but at a certain point he did stretch it out. He did stretch it out. At a certain point he did stretch it out. But throughout the movie, that character did not have the long jaw that it's 100% known for. And I see why they did it, because it looks pretty silly, when it's trying, when you see it close its mouth. You will see that the long jaw will be sticking out, and the top of the jaw will be still same, but the long jaw will be still sticking out. So yeah, he would have he have it look normal, but then when he really start to really get the its snarl in, you can see the jaw just elongate. It's but yeah, the fight between Spawn and Violator, that was a pretty good fight. You know, every single but yeah, any single fight you'll see between Spawn and Violator, whether it's the movie or in the comics or on a TV show, it's going to be that type of fight where you know Spawn either gets his ass kicked or he's going to come out on top. In this movie, Spawn did get his ass kicked though. But I gotta tell you something though, with this particular version of the movie though, yeah, you can see that, yeah, they tried what they had, but as far as the R-rated director's cut, now that is the Spawn movie that you could check out, because it's a lot more violent than this movie here. PG-13 is for the it's good for the public. You know, PG-13 is side A on the rap tape. That's good for the radio. But with side B, you turn that shit to side B, then that is good for the street right there. So yeah, the director's cut, which is side B, That shit right there is for the street. That movie, that version, the director's cut, R-rated director's cut, that version is a lot more violent than you got in the you got in the PG-13 version. So yeah, if you ever want to really get into this movie, then you got to check out the the R-rated director's cut. You got to check that out. That's pretty much what I can say on. That's all I can say on that. That's all I can say on that. Yeah, the movie is okay for what it is. John Leguizamo, he's a very very good highlight as the clown slash violator. Very good highlight. Michael Jai White. You know, physically he pulled it off very very well. Physically, he pulled it off very well. I mean, the brother had I mean, yeah, the brother's got he got the goods. He got the goods. To an action star. He could have been a very big action star, but you know, I'm not gonna knock him on his acting because he done some real good stuff later on in his career. As far as his acting concerned, I mean, the first time I seen him was in 1995 when he did that Mike Tyson movie on HBO. And I think that was the very first time I seen him as an actor. Because this guy, he's a huge martial artist, world renowned martial artist. I mean, he's a legitimate martial artist that got into acting. Yeah, but he's not as much of an actor as Wesley Snipes is. But he's a pretty damn good actor. Nowadays he's a pretty damn good actor. He does some Tyler Perry films that he didn't have to do nothing physical, but he did a lot of he did a lot of acting, and yeah, he did some pretty good stuff in those films. But with this movie, you could see that he was he was really honing his craft on on the acting part. But physically, with the fight scenes and everything like that, this guy, he knocks his shit, out the water with with that. So yeah, man, Michael Jai White, yeah, yeah, if you were having to do Spawn again today, no doubt he would do this much more better than he did back in 1997 with this film. If he would do Spawn today, he done the shit much more better. And of course, you see Teresa Randall in this movie. This chick, fine as hell in anything that she's done. She's a hell of an actress herself. But yeah, this movie though, it's a good 3. I'm gonna give it a good 3 out of 5. The PG-13 version, a good 3 out of 5. A 4 out of 5, a huge solid 4 out of 5 for the director's cut, the R-rated director's cut though. Yeah, PG-13, the A side on the rap tape, it's good for the radio, but you put that shit on side B, then the R-rated director's cut. That shit's for the street right there. And that is what you really want to see. That's what you really want to see for this particular movie. So yeah, PG-13, a good 3 out of 5, but that R-rated director's cut, a solid 4 out of 5. It really hits hard, Jack. But yeah, Spawn. That's my review, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, usually with it's not particularly this movie not particularly a horror movie, but due to the dark content of the character, due to the dark content of the content of Spawn, you know, this shit is not for kids anyway. So yeah, so due to the dark content of the character, I'm sitting here in the darkness. I'm giving it to you in the darkness. So yeah, man. Next week, staying in the comic book world, staying in the superhero field, and we will be going animated once again. Yes, sir. The Dark Knight himself, the Dark Knight and the Boy Wonder. Commissioner Gordon want his daughter found, and these two guys are the only ones that are the only ones to save her from Mr. Freeze. So you stick around, keep it locked right here for that. Check out my other shit right here, and subscribe to me right here. But in the meantime, in between time, Jack, this show is off.